right, welcome to our Sword Live School training, y'all. Let's go. I've got a few of you that are coming in and joining. I'll let you in here in 1 minute. Wanted to start with a little purpose point. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to help you with your questions, your problems, your roadblocks as it relates to breaking into tech sales and landing your SDR, BDR job. We'll be going live once a week. Anyone is invited. However, you must be part of our school community. So the URL is down below. Join our school community. This is where you're going to get not only a whole community of people just like you trying to break into tech sales for wisdom, for advice, for support, but you're also going to get my complete guide for breaking into tech sales for free. Absolutely free. It is a step-by-step guide that shows you everything you need to do to break into tech sales. So again, I'll put that link up one more time. If you would like to join these live trainings to be able to come in here, ask me questions, talk to some other people with similar questions, go ahead, go to this link, sign up. It's all free. We're here to help you. My name's Jack Knight. I help people like you break into tech sales. My life was radically changed after breaking into tech sales, and I want to give this blessing that's been in my life, I want to give it to you. I want to pay it forward. So that's what we're doing here. Let's make some room for the questions. Let's get some people up here. But first, we've got the intro.
Let us put these friends to bed!
Let's go ahead and let's get some people showing face in here. Let's get Nate up here. Let's let Lance in. We got Nick. We got Justin. What's up, y'all? How we doing? What up?
Hey.
Let's go. Y'all, this is my first time doing this, by the way, so give me grace, but it's great to meet all of you, see all of you. Really quickly, where are y'all based out of? Nate?
Fort Myers, Florida.
Justin?
McDonough, Georgia, but I'm in Fayetteville right now because I'm visiting family.
Nice. Lance?
Yeah.
Waterloo, Ontario.
Awesome. Nick?
I'm in Playa del Rey, California.
Beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute everyone just so their audio is clear. If you have a question or a comment, by all means, feel free to jump off mute and jump in here. So let me get everyone muted. All right, perfect. So want to start this with just open mic, right? So if you've got a question, what are you struggling with when it comes to breaking into tech sales? Where's your biggest roadblock? What do you want to know? Let's talk about it. Come off mic and we'll get into it.
Yeah, I got a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
Okay, sweet. So there's a company that I'm applying to, and they have like 4 different SDR opportunities. They have an SMB, mid-market, and enterprise. And I just want kind of your advice on where we should or should not be looking or applying to, when there's that, many opportunities at hand. Yeah.
Great question. First thing that pops in my mind is, are you sure it's not an AE role? Because AE roles are typically split out between all those market segments. Big companies do have differentiation there, so it could be. Are you sure it's an SDR role?
Yeah, it's an SDR role for a deal. If you go on like their LinkedIn right now, it'll say like SDR, SMB, SDR mid-market enterprise, SDR enterprise. So there's like a few different tiers, which surprised me. So I just wanted to get kind of your take on, because I know each thing is like a different seat size for your prospects and who you're reaching out to. So I just wanted that insight.
Good question. Now, Deal is a bit of an anomaly. They're more like a Salesforce. They're just massive, right? It's unlikely you're going to get 5 posts for one company, but just a big company. The first thing you want to check is make sure it's not an AE role. So you've confirmed that. That's good. Second thing is, I would apply to all of them, and I would go try to find the right hiring manager for each one and just treat each like a separate application. The only time you don't want to apply to every role you see is when you have someone applying to like an SDR role, a CSM role, an AE role. And to me as a hiring manager, it just looks like you literally don't know what you want. You can't make up your mind. You don't really know what you're doing. So as long as you're focused on just SDR, put in all the applications. go for it. Now, I will say enterprise SDR roles typically require experience. It's way harder to land an enterprise SDR role out the gate. So Nate, I know a little bit about your background, but if you're someone that doesn't have SDR experience, maybe don't go the enterprise route.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Any follow-up or clarification needed there?
No, you're all good. Explained it perfectly.
Awesome. Dylan, welcome. Do you mind if I mute you just while you're not talking so the audio channel's clear? Appreciate you. I have the ability. It's just not working on my side. So cool. Who else has a question?
I want to say one thing to Nate's comment. If you apply to the mid-market one, I can tell you who that manager is. It's Christina.
There you go.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll definitely
look her up.
Yeah, thank you, Jared.
Because I interviewed with her, so.
Love that. This is why community is important right here. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, and to that point, if you do apply to a big company, the managers will typically spell out what segment they're in. And so you know who to go to. If it's mid-market, go find the mid-market SDR leader, whatever it is. If they don't have it, check the SDRs. Because us SDRs, we like to flex our resumes. We like to make it known. We're not just SDRs. We specialize in this segment here. I'm part of the cool team. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't find it on the leader's profile, check the SDRs, and some of them will have like SDR, mid-market. Boom, go hit those reps up and be like, hey, is it Joe or Sally? Which one's the manager, right? And they'll help guide you.
Yeah, so my question is, so when you guys are getting interviewed and you get multiple interviews and they all like want to meet face and end up lining up with like this all on the same day, like on Tuesday I have 3 interviews and I'm basically going back to back to back. So to do all that prep work, the day of obviously would really work because it starts off so early. Like, do you guys recommend like more trying to space those out a little bit further as you can, or just roll with it and then keep going? That makes sense.
Yeah, good question. So I'll kind of re-ask this to the group. How many interviews have you had in a day? Like, who has the record here of interviews in a day? Come off mute. Go ahead and share. Nick, is that you telling us how many interviews you've had in a day?
Yeah, I can't. I'm trying to think. I've had a couple. I mean, I've had 3 or 4, but it's just, you want to prepare and do everything like that. But I've learned within the past couple months that even if you slide by the first one, it's more or less just a Zoom call just to see if you're an actual human, more or less. But then it's like phase 5. I usually ask in the first interview, like, how many phases are we looking at? Because as it may be a great job and a great position and a great salary and yada, 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 some of these guys are 5-6 phases. And after a while, it just starts to become like a psychology test. Like, you're going through the first guy, then the second lady, then HR, then the vice president of sales, then the CEO, and it's not hard to prepare, but then they just start shooting different questions, and you can almost tell they're not on the same page. I mean, very rarely on the big companies, you'll get 4 people on the call, and then that means it's game time. That means, they're actually gonna go a different direction. For myself, I'm a little older. I'm 45, so I'm losing the "you're an old man" race, and "why do you want a career change" race. So that one's tough. But yeah, I guess just go with what you can get, because right now, like Jack said, dude, there's so many. I have a buddy that is a recruiter, and I have another friend in HR, and they're getting thousands and thousands of resumes. So the one thing you can do, and I don't know, I mean, I guess we're all comfortable because we're on camera right now, but another powerful thing you can do is just sign up for Loom. It's like $20 and send a Loom video, and that'll stand out. That'll put you in the top 10% because A, you're in sales, B, you're not scared of the camera. Most likely you're going to be doing demos on Zoom calls, and so you gotta just put yourself out there, and it's a lot easier. And then also, one thing is just be yourself. And they're gonna either go with it or not. and it's tough. It's hard out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what else everyone else is using, but LinkedIn's pretty powerful, and Indeed's kind of a mess, but I don't know. Yeah. So, like I said, it just your best bet is no matter what, take the interview, and then my suggestion is always ask what the phases are, because there's very rarely, unless you're dealing with a super small startup, it's gonna be 3 or 4 phases, which means usually 3 or 4 weeks unless they're super desperate or they're ready to roll.
So, kind of like second part of my question. Is anybody else finding that when you guys are outbounding hiring managers, you won't hear anything from them, and then like shortly after you'll hear something from like a recruiter? Has anybody actually really gone straight to the hiring manager, like kind of just skip that step? Because I've only had that happen twice now, where I actually skipped to the hiring manager every other time. They still do the same thing they would have done if I just applied and let it wait.
I haven't had that. I've just been using LinkedIn heavily, because that way you can see who's actually posting it, so you can sort of bypass the recruiter. It's always good to find the recruiters, and if you put it out there, they'll come to you. And then also one thing is, I don't know, just through being old, is don't pay for a recruiter no matter what they say, because there's those guys out there, and they'll promise you the world, and it's like, yeah, just 200. Just remember, it's on the back end, they're getting paid. So if you can cut them right off. You're not getting paid to get me to find this position. What are you doing? So just remember that one too.
Yeah, that's good feedback, 100%. Nick, you said something that I want to come back to. You said you're struggling with like the age thing. I will just say openly to any manager out there watching this, I've never hired a bad person over the age of 40, even 35. And I think it's a work ethic thing. I think it's a generational thing. And I think all of us young people here can be humble and say, even if it's not us, our generation has a serious work ethic issue. And when you come from a little more wisdom, a little more life experience, there's no time for that crap. So I will just say phenomenal hires as you go up in age. But yeah, Jared, the original question around just back-to-back interviews, it's hard, right? Like it actually is hard. What I would do is I would think about this like your SDR pipeline, right? So as an SDR, you need to reach out to people. You need to get those people to reply. The ones that reply, they need to book meetings. The ones that book meetings, they need to show up and be good meetings. If your issue in the pipeline is not about getting interviews, like let's say you're getting enough interviews, then don't go back a step and keep optimizing for more interviews. Like no, you're already progressing. Start focusing on those interviews. Clear out the day before. Don't spend the day before putting out 15 more applications. Waste of time. You're already a step ahead. Get those interviews dialed in. Be prepared for all of them. Yeah, it's going to be a long, hard day, but if you are already at that step and you're having success, invest more there. And then if those interviews don't go anywhere, cool. We go back one step, we get more interviews. So I don't know if that helps, but I would just try to compartmentalize like, okay, cool, I'm getting the interviews. I could put out 40 more apps. That doesn't matter because I have 3 steaming hot interviews on my plate right now. Let me go make the most of those and see what happens. Yeah, come on, open mic.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, sweet. Sorry, it kept saying I was muted. One thing I was going to add, Jared, this is related to what Nick said with Lumen videos. I would highly encourage anyone, go to like Five Below or Amazon. You can get like a ring light for like your camera for like $5 or $10. It's like a small investment. I'm using one right now, but like these managers, they're churning and burning through so many things. Like if there's anything you can do to stick out, even if it's, they have better camera quality, they have better lighting, I can see them clear, especially when doing Loom videos or anything. That is something minor that is going to set you apart from the rest. So it's something that's really been beneficial to me. And then also, Jack, I had a question for you regarding, doing outreach to people who are currently on SDR teams.
Yep.
So I had an account I applied for today, and I was doing outreach, but all of the SDRs I found were only 3 months into their tenure, and I was thinking more so just hitting up SDR leaders who had been more seasoned, like a team lead or a senior SDR, and
Yeah.
just wanted to get your take. Would you just recommend kind of sticking to just SDRs, or is it all right if we kind of adjust it at times depending on their tenure? Because
Yeah.
chances are, the words of someone who's seasoned, they have a history of carrying quota for this company, is going to carry more weight when talking to the management. So just
Yeah.
wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think your mindset there is right to put a little more respect and esteem and weight on the more tenured person. But do it all. If you land an interview with a manager, like you get past the recruiter, now is the time to really invest in this opportunity. So hit up every SDR at the company. Now, if it's a deal, that's like 100 SDRs. Don't do that. But you get what I'm saying. Like, reach out to 5 SDRs, 6 SDRs. The odds that they're going to start sending screenshots to each other in Slack of like, who is this creep Nate who's like hitting us up? That's like 1% chance they do that. And by the way, if they do that and they call you out on it, yeah, guys, I really want to work here. I'm really driven. I'm dedicated. I really care about this. This is a big opportunity to me. And then they're like, oh shoot, Nate's kind of a dog, right? Like he's getting after it. So reach out to any SDR. The less tenured SDRs are actually great people to talk to because they just got hired. Even 3 months, that flies by. They're so excited still. They're still in like the honeymoon phase of like, wow, like, yeah, this is the best place ever. They want to give you that excitement and joy. So they're going to be willing to help you. And they just went through the process. Maybe the interview process changed for the one who's been there a year, right? So they're really good to talk to, but it's going to be kind of a different purpose. Your purpose in talking to the tenured ones is to get like their stamp of approval. Like you want to come in collected and show them you know what you're talking about, where they might be willing to say, hey, manager, I talked to Nate, by the way. He's solid. And he said you have an interview coming up with him. I wanted to let you know that. So reach out to all of them, just kind of different goals of what you're after there. And just to add on the camera quality real quick, Jared, we'll come back to you. It's huge, y'all. Like, as silly as it sounds, and I hate that it's this way, but if your background, if your presentation, if your appearance isn't dialed in, then you will get skipped over. Like, I was working with Jared the other day, and he had some like stuff in his library, and it was like binders and stuff. Not a big deal, right? When you say it out loud, it's like, oh, big deal. But when he got rid of it, his workspace was so much cleaner. And before, what came across as a little cluttered, a little jumbled, now is coming across as like, this guy's organized. Like, look at if you look at my background, you're like, oh yeah, Jack's probably an organized, clean guy. That's probably how you do something is how you do everything, right? So to Nate's point, y'all go to Amazon, order a $5 Olight. I'm using my iPhone as my camera. My webcam, I just bought a brand new MacBook. It was like $3,000. Like, it's one of the nicer ones. The webcam is still not as good as my iPhone. And I don't know why that is, but if you have a Mac, you can use continuity camera. It's like built in at this point, very easy to do. And if you don't, that's okay. Just get an Olight, make sure your background looks clear, make sure it looks good. Standing helps a lot. I'm standing right now. That's for a few reasons, but you just kind of get to stand taller. When you sit on an interview, the stress creeps in and you start to like bow over a little bit. So just little things like that can help you just present yourself as more polished, as more with it. Like, you know how to present yourself. So if we were in-person interviews, I'm coming in a black sport coat, tie, tucked in, looking sharp, firm handshake, standing tall. This is just the virtual version of that. Just because we're applying remote doesn't change the standard of how we should present ourselves. I love that, Nate. Good point. Jared.
I'm just kind of thinking back on what Nate was saying. With the SDRs, like a lot of times too, like I've noticed, like I'll send those connect requests out, send those messages out, and it's a pretty good indication if I get a response from one of them of the company and their culture. To me right off the bat. If I send like deal, I'll be honest, like, I sent 3, 4, 5. One of them I actually worked with on my last job with Zoom Info, and not a single one got back to me. So I was already kind of like, like the product's great, like I would like to work there, but like the culture over kind of is like this might not be the best fit. And then the people that do reach out, I always try to find at least two, three, find that one that is really tenured. But I like to talk to a lot of the people that have been there for like 6 months or less, because I get a little bit more of a more recent um, idea of how it is. Management can change very quickly. Uh, Priorities of sales have to be extremely adaptable. Things change on a dime, especially at a smaller company, startups. So they get a little more what's going on. They're not as possibly jaded as some of like the more tenured reps if there is a lot of change going on. So I always like to make sure I'm targeting which SDRs I'm going after based off of their tenure. And if I see any important leadership posting about those SDRs, I'm also trying to talk to those SDRs for that specifically reason.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing to add there is people can smell you being lazy from a mile away. And so an example of this, if you had an upcoming interview, let's say it was a mock call exercise, very common now, and you were trying to reach out to an SDR and kind of get some insight on the process. If you just said, hey, I have a mock interview coming up. Is there anything you can do to help me? Like, bro, no one's going to help you with that. You're just being really freaking lazy. No one likes that. But if you said, hey, Nate, I've got an interview with Joanne tomorrow. We're going through this mock call exercise. Here's the script I'm headed in with, and you have like a script tailored to that. Is there anything you would add or take away here? That's it. Anything you'd add or take away. You're going to get more responses from that for sure. And you can send a voice memo. You can't send voice memos on your laptop, but if you go to your LinkedIn mobile app, you can send the little voice memos. Those do really well too, because SDRs, typically younger, sorry, Nick, I'm excluding you here, but we're more apt to like open a voice memo than we are to like read a five paragraph thing, right? So using techniques like that, honestly, y'all, if you're excited about an interview, you know you're doing well, you know you have a good shot at the company, go cold call the SDRs, text them. Yo, same message. Yo, I have an interview with Joanne tomorrow. Here's my script. I know I sent this on LinkedIn, but I don't know if you're on LinkedIn or not. Whatever. Go for it. Call them. Text them. Do what you need to do to get in touch. And I'll extend that. I had one of my coaching clients call a software engineer at this company who used to be like really high up in the leadership team on the sales side, switched to software engineering, called him, and the person was like super impressed, sent a really high note of recommendation to the manager, and that interview is happening sometime this week. So the point is do what you can do once you're at that point in the interview where you know you have a good shot. Do everything you can do. Cold call people that are in the company, cold call leadership, cold call the CEO. Hey, CEO, if they pick up or not, doesn't matter. Leave a voicemail. Hey, CEO, I've got an interview with so-and-so tomorrow. I just wanted to hear from your perspective what your biggest goal for the SDR org is. That's it. Then they're going to tell you that, and they're probably going to hit that manager up and be like, hey, by the way, Jared just called me. He said he has an interview tomorrow. I just want to let you know that. Now you have the CEO telling the hiring manager, to keep an eye out for you. Call the CEO, call the VP, call the CRO, cold call the SDRs. Why not? If you're already at the point you're at the hiring manager, that's like being on the phone with a really good prospect, right? Like all you have to do is book that meeting with them. And the way you're going to do that is just go a little above and beyond. We're not in the days of easy apply. I think we all know that. We're not in the days of like, here's my resume. Like we're past that. And there's two options. We either give up and say, this is hard, this is unfair, which a lot of people do on LinkedIn. And if you're doing that, you're not cut out for sales. Or you say, cool, how do I get past this? Those are the people that do well in sales. And Jared, I just realized this as I was sharing that. I think that was you, right? This is you we're talking about, that example of cold calling.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah. So leaving the company name out of it, do you want to share just briefly what that experience was?
Yeah, definitely. So, this company specializes in cold calling. So I was like, had the thought, I'm like, what if I start just cold calling, their leadership? Like I have had the hiring manager already had scheduled the interview, and so I was like, well, what else could I do to stand out? Because I mean, yeah, I have some SaaS experience. Yes, I've been in sales for 12 years. Like, but at the end of the day, like they're not looking at all that. Like, sure, don't seem like most people are really like looking at resumes too much until like they've already scheduled the interview. It's like, well, all right. And so I was like, what else could I do to stand out that would be more impressive than just talking to their SDRs? And so I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like me and Jack talked about it, and I was like, all right, let's do it. I use Apollo, which I was like, all right, though some of these numbers are the same, but I'm like, I'm gonna call them either way and just treat the name as the same. Called the CEO. I called one of the founders, and they both I got the voicemail. So I left voicemails just real clear, like, hey, this is Jared. I have an interview tomorrow with so and so, and just wanted to kind of, I'm a strong believer in actions speak louder than words, but old fashioned, show don't tell. So here I am showing you I'm willing to do the job, get the job. Love to get a little bit of feedback from you. Have a wonderful day. That's pretty much it. And then called one of the other founders who, and like Jack said, switched to the software engineering side. And he answered within like 2 rings. And so I was like really caught off guard. And I was like, oh, I'm not back in my head. I'm like, I'm about to bomb this. Like, great. Like, was not prepared for this at all. And then I was like, hey, Vishnu, this is Jared. And he's like, Jared? I was like, oh, he's going to think I'm the other person. Because there's what Jared there is like, just got huge praise from the CEO. And so he's like, oh, is this Jared? So I'm like, nah, actually, no, this is Jared Miller. I have an interview with one of your managers tomorrow. But the cool thing is, my name's got 2 R's, so I'm already a little bit better. And he had a huge laugh about that. He's like, actually, funny story. Our CEOs, Dan with 1 N. Our first AE we hired was Dan with 2 N's. And so he's had a really quick, brief, like really awesome conversation. He's like, I'm going to tell so-so about you. I was like, hey, no worries, because I asked permission if I can, hey, is it okay if I tell so-so tomorrow that I called you? He's like, actually, I'll do you one better, and I'll send her one right now. And then we got off the phone, and like 30 minutes later, he sent me a text with like what he said to the hiring manager, and it looked like it was like in the company Slack. Because I had another SDR be like, hey, great job, like sorry I didn't get back to you. I was super busy. Definitely wanted to, but you already did this. Like, this is already really impressive. So I already told so like you reach out to us so to kind of stand out more. And we'll see how it goes.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I get questions like, okay, if I call the VP of sales, what do I say? Very simple. Very simple. Hey, I have an interview coming up with so-and-so. I just applied to the role. I would just want to hear what your biggest priority is for the SDR program, or how the SDR program could best support your goals this year. That's it. And really what you're trying to get here is you're trying to get the referral, which is what Jared got. But you're also getting some intel you can use on the interview, because when you roll up to that interview the next day, hey, hiring manager, I spoke to VP of sales, yada, yada. We spoke about this. I know this is important to y'all. Can you tell me like how you guys are preparing to take? They're going to be like, what? You spoke to our VP? What? That's amazing. And you go for that referral at the end. Just like Jared said, that's the right talk track. It's, hey, would you be against me telling so-and-so we had a conversation tomorrow? And hopefully they say, hey, you know what? I'll just go ahead and refer you over. Or if you want to be more bold, you could certainly ask like, hey, a good SDR asked for the meeting. Would you be willing to let so-and-so know that I reached out to you? Boom, you asked for the meeting. So way to go, Jared. That was huge. Lance, I think you were popped off the mic for a sec. You got a question?
Oh, yeah. So we were talking about reaching out to BDRs, the companies. And one of them actually, it worked out because I reached out to someone who's a senior BDR, and she graduated from the same program that I did. And she was like, yeah, sure, I'll just send you that internal referral, which was amazing. But I also thought, you mentioned sending like the script as a voice note. What do you think of saying, hey, could I give you a call and pretend that you're the prospect and I'm BDRing for that company? Because they probably know all the objections and everything that's gonna come the way. So do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, 1,000%. I love that. I love that,
Okay.
man. That's awesome. Yeah, so one of the things in my program that I push my clients to do is whenever you have an interview coming up, get 4 questions answered from SDRs at that company. Those 4 questions are, what persona do you target? What pain do they deal with? What is the value prop / solution of your product? And what are the common objections you run into? So persona, pain, value prop, objections. That is your job as an SDR. Like, master those 4 things, right? And so if you can get those from an SDR before that interview, now you come in like, hey, I understand. I actually spoke to Megan, and she told me that some of the most common objections you're running into are like, we don't have budget. How are you coaching the team through that objection specifically? But back to your point, Lance, yeah, man, like, go for it. The SDRs in this case, they typically want to see you succeed, especially the ones that reply and engage with you. Like, they care because you care. And if you're excited about their company, it validates them. They want to help. It's just human psychology. So it's not a bad idea to do that at all, Lance. I actually love that. The only thing I would say, just like a prospect, we don't want to overwhelm them on our first touch with like, can you do X, Y, and Z for me? So that's why we're just saying like, hey, here's the script. Would you change or add anything? Like, hey, I've got this interview coming up with so-and-so. Here's my script. Would you add or change? That's it. And then once they engage, cool. Now the wall is broken. Now you can be like, hey, can I just call you for like 3 minutes and can we do a little mock? Now you're in. So odds are they say yes.
Perfect, man. All right, thanks.
Love that. What else we got?
I had a question. I know I'm all dressed up and everything. I was supposed to have an interview right before this, but my interviewer was sick, so I gotta reschedule that.
Fun.
And I'm in day 9 of my sequence on like 4 companies. So where do I go from there?
4 companies.
Or
Have
3?
they just
3 or
not
4?
responded?
Yeah,
No one's responded from the company, basically.
right.
Got it. Yeah. First question is, how old is the role? How stale is the opportunity? Because these roles are filling quickly, and
Yeah.
even if you're targeting a role that was posted 2 weeks ago, you're probably too late. That's why. So on LinkedIn, I can actually demo this real fast. Let me share screen, and I'll come back and answer the big question. Let's go to this. Share. Cool. LinkedIn. If I go to jobs and I go to SDR, let's say I want to go United States. By the way, there's a remote filter, which is cool. So SDR jobs in the US that are remote, date posted. This filter right here is clutch. Past 24 hours. Show results. Boom. So you want to target the freshest roles every day because even a week can be too late sometimes. So get on the freshest roles right away. Like, look, SDR role, seamless, invent, regional sales rep, now outbound SDR, boom, remote. So check that every day. The other thing to check every day is if you just go to main LinkedIn and you do a search and you say like hiring, oops, can't spell, hiring SDR. And then you go to posts, and then you go to date posted past 24 hours. You'll often find hiring managers posting the roles they're hiring for, like Becky here. We're hiring for a UK-based remote SDR. Boom. That was 7 hours 1 day ago. That's how you stay on the freshest roles. So sorry for that rabbit hole there, but I know that's going to help a lot of people. Coming back to you, Justin, what happens if? That's question 1. So in this case, like overall, are these old opportunities or are these pretty fresh?
They were. Let me see. They were like from a week ago. Because
Okay.
that's when I sent you all those videos. It was from that day.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say a week is like, go for it, right? And I'll explain what that means in a second, but anything over a week, you probably missed the boat.
Yeah.
So Justin, in this case, have you hit up all the SDRs at the company?
That I've seen, yeah.
Okay.
Well, not all of them, but like two from each.
Okay. Yeah, so
Or 3.
That's good. Start with 2 or 3. If you don't get an answer in a day or two, because y'all know us, like we're always on our phones checking LinkedIn. If they don't reply in the first 2 days, they're probably not going to reply. So go add more from the company, find more SDRs. But maybe you let them go, right? So my waterfall, it's like a waterfall decision making process. How old is the role? If it's over a week, I'm just going to let it go. I didn't get there in time, move on. If it's a week or under, did I hit up all of the SDRs? Did I hit up the hiring manager? Did I cold call everyone? Did I text everyone? Did I do the entire outbound multi-threading process to who I needed to? And if there's no reply after that, you literally did everything in your power. Move on. Don't waste your time. This is very similar to cold calling where, hey, I can make 60 dials and I might get 5 people that say call back later. But those people that say call back later, call back in 6 months, rather than waste my time calling those people back, why wouldn't I just call another 5 prospects, right, that are brand new? So not a perfect analogy, but the point is when you need to cut dead weight. Sounds like these might just be dead weight. Move on with your life. Go find the new ones. Because as we just saw on LinkedIn, 245 remote roles in the last 24 hours in the US. I'd be targeting those.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'll piggyback off that, like just from my own personal experience. There's one company I've applied to 4 times. They like 3 times before Jack, and then 1 time with Jack. And I really want to work there. Great company, great value. Like they're really growing. Like missed the boat getting in with Zoom Info as late as I did. Didn't want to miss it again. I'm dead set. I'm like, I gotta work at Ramp. Ramp was one, and like, cause I kept getting those rejection emails, like on like holidays and on weekends, after less than 12 hours after applying. Like, I'm like, okay, no one's even seeing this. Like, it keeps happening no matter what I do with my resume. Cause I've done 4 different resumes now at this point. And so I've gone through all the hiring managers, even their boss, and sent videos. I've seen one of them got viewed on my Vidyard. No one else has touched any of them. I haven't seen any like recent posts, like really saying, "Hey, we're growing, we're hiring." So I'm really pretty sure I was like Jack said, there was a op, just a too far gone op, and I didn't realize it until yesterday, and I just like called it quits, which sucks. 'Cause it was like one of my dream ones, but I'm like, it's just like when I was cold calling prospects, it's gonna be the same thing. If they're not picking up the phone, they don't want to talk. There's nothing I can do about it that I haven't already done. So I'd just be mindful of that. Just kind of think about like, hey, this is my prospect. Would I keep calling this person? If not, move on.
And then one thing to piggyback on Jack, as far as stale or a week old, there's also big people on LinkedIn. I'll share this link. It was posted yesterday. Some guy named Sam Nelson. He's blue hair. He's the blue hair guy. You've probably seen him on LinkedIn. He's huge, but he literally posted, if you're looking for an SDR job, comment I am below. Every time I do this, tons of SDRs get new jobs. Let's get some interviews. If you're hiring SDRs, feel free to post that in the comments too. There's 408 comments. So, and that's as of yesterday. And there's a bunch of people that say I am, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of postings from people that are actually hiring. So that's hot as of yesterday. I mean, obviously, we all know 400 comments, we're jumping in the ocean, time to be the shark. But it is what it is. So I'll share that in the school group. I'll share the link, and then feel free to attack it.
Perfect. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So look, what's going to happen with a post like that is you're going to get 30 managers, 50 managers posting saying, hey, I have a role. 90% of the people that are applying will just reply to that comment and say, I'm interested. Nothing else. Don't do that. That's not going to get you anything. What you could do, screenshot the comment, drop it in a DM, take a little video and say, hey, I'm interested. By the way, I'm going to cold call you. Cold call them. Text them your video. Boom. You've just set yourself apart from the pack. Yeah, it's hard. It takes work, but welcome to sales, right? That's how you're going to break in ultimately. So that's the approach we want to take. One of you said something about, Jared, it was about the resumes. Like you kept applying, you kept getting these auto rejections. Ignore auto rejections. Literally ignore them until a manager or a recruiter tells you no. And honestly, even the recruiters, ignore them until the hiring manager says no. it's not dead. Ignore whenever you get an auto rejection. It literally means nothing. It means you didn't put the right data in, the right keywords in for the robot to say that you're a good candidate. You know how you're a good candidate? You're going to show them you're a good candidate by cold calling them, texting them, being on LinkedIn, sending videos. Literally ignore auto rejection emails. All right. Anyone else? Questions? Cool. Nick, great job opening resource. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I will also say in the school training, we have a free job board training module, walks through like all the big job boards, the most recent roles, and then that little snippet I screen shared. I think that'll help as well. So we're about 45 minutes in here. If there's no other questions, then we can wrap it. I'll just pause real quick and see if anyone else has anything. Cool. Silence is good. All right, y'all. Well, look.
He says Sam
Yeah.
Nielsen.
Sam Nelson, SAMNELSON.
Yeah, you'll know he has neon blue hair, literally. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good one to follow for sure. All right, cool. Well, I'll wrap us up here, y'all. For anyone listening and for anyone in this group, remember we are active in the school community. We have a ton of free resources. We have a whole step-by-step guide that'll walk you through how to break into tech sales. And if you're still hitting roadblocks, then I do work with people one-on-one to help you break into tech sales, and you'll have me in your back pocket the entire process. If you want more info on that, just hit me up. You know where to find me. I'm all over LinkedIn. And for all of you that were here, thank you for making this awesome, interactive, helpful, valuable. I'm proud of all of you for getting out there. You're doing the job to get the job. That is why you will be successful. Do not give up. And for everyone listening, you know where to find us. You know where to find the resources. We are here to help you. I'll throw that school link up one more time. Boom, right there. And with that, y'all, thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and end this live stream.